Bum 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 bum. The Peter Dislike Show. Bum 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 bum. 2 years ago, I was at a Christmas party held at a church, and as I was leaving the party, I got into my car. And I realized, wow, people drive so much safer in this area in town. That's what I was thinking. And then I realized it wasn't the area in town, it was the fact that these were parents who had their kids there. I live in Phoenix, Arizona, probably one of the most dangerous cities for driving. And when I went to that church party, it was like I went to another planet in terms of people's driving habits. They didn't even rhyme at all. Very different concept. People were considerate. They actually looked 10 times before making a move. And it was night and day. And then it dawned on me, I teach at a community college. It dawned on me how many of my students tell me they never want to get married or have kids. They don't want to have any sort of long-term commitment. They don't want to buy a house. The live for today kind of mentality, and that just scares the crap out of me. That these are the people who are going to be cruising our roads 5-10 years later. When they're telling me these stories, I sometimes hope they also tell me they don't want to drive. I can live with that. You live for yourself on your own, fine. But if they still want to drive, that's scary to me. Or do anything else that might be dangerous. Right? Make important decisions for everybody else. Right? That scares the crap out of me. That we have these people doing that. Now, I've gotten into my fair share of accidents. I'm single and don't have kids, but something else happened that resulted in me driving a whole lot safer. I'll get to that in a second. But I haven't had an at-fault accident for 10 years. And then I had 3 more accidents that were not my fault. But something interesting, common denominator between all of the accidents, both my fault and the ones that were not. And it occurred to me, not that I would want to, but it occurred to me I've never gotten into an accident with a family of 4. It's always a single person driving. And usually, after discussing with them, I discover they're single as fuck. And it occurred to me that even as reckless as I used to drive, there's no way I'm going to hit a family of 4. They're going to be evasive about me, right? And I was part of that demographic as well. Nothing to care about. But then, two things happened. First, I did date a girl for some time that was considerably younger than me. And when she was in the car, the concept of driving changed considerably. You could feel it. It wasn't just like, oh, I gotta be a little bit more careful. No, you could actually feel it in your bone that you were doing something very different than when you were driving alone. Also, around the same time, I started living in my car on and off. And I still do. In fact, during the winter time, I got to think, do I want to live in my car and save some money so I could have a better place to live during the summer, right? And when everything's in my car, the whole concept and the whole complex of what it means to own a car and to drive changes considerably, right? That car almost becomes like a house, right? And just like you would treat your house a lot more sanely than you might treat a disposable car, right? And but I got into an accident. This one was not my fault. With a truck driver, a semi. He had rear-ended me. And what was really upsetting was that after he rear-ended me, both of our vehicles were still drivable. I mean, they needed considerable repair, but they were drivable. He could have given me his insurance number. We could have shaken hands and called it a day. I had stuff to go to that day, but he dragged his feet. He claimed he couldn't find the number. He claimed he had to call dispatch and all of that. And and then he claimed he had to call the police for whatever reason. And the police came and basically laughed at him. And I missed something important that day. We'll go into it. I'm still upset about it. When he could have just given me his fucking... Which he knew where it was all along, because when the police came and he had to show it to the officer, he showed it in a heartbeat. But for some reason, he didn't want to give it to me. I don't know. I think he was just upset and wanted to drag it out and wanted to hope for something else to happen. I don't know what it was. But anyway, then I filed the claim and all that. What was really nice was that my Kia Forte already had a lot of pre-existing damage, and it all kind of got repaired under that. Also very nice was that this was in 2023. There was a lot of supply chain issues, and the repair took forever. And for 3 months, I got to drive a rental car and didn't have to add any miles to the Kia Forte, which was really nice. It probably extended the amount of time I had before I had to replace that car, right? So, a blessing in disguise. I was still upset about how he dragged his feet that day. But later on, as I'm exchanging information with him, and he didn't fight it out. It's just nice, but I'm not. Which is what makes me think he was just upset that particular day. But I later found out, or at least surmised, that he's never been married or had kids. It sounds like, and he's just. He's a truck driver. He gets to wander all around. If I remember correctly, his license plate wasn't from Arizona. And nothing to go home to, no kids to feed or all that, no spouse to take care of. And basically, I hate to say it this way, in his own mind, he might even be worth more dead than alive. And yet, we allow people like that to cruise around with a dangerous, 20-ton missile on our interstates. That's just scary, in my opinion. I can't think of any scarier somebody who has nothing to lose with one of the most powerful weapons that is legal to own. I can't think of anything scarier than that. Right, I hope he got Donald Trump from his trucking drive after his accident, right? Especially with the way he played it. Actually, I remember having to make multiple phone calls to his. I also kind of pulled off a little bit of fraud. What had happened was that I. I really made out like a bandit on that accident. What had happened was I had to pay the deductible, and I seem to remember I got the deductible refunded twice for some reason. I think my own insurance company, and then he was dragging his insurance was dragging their feet. And I was calling them multiple times. They said they were refunding it, but it never showed up. I called my insurance company. They refunded it. And then I got 2 refunds. And it makes me curse that I had lowered the deductible earlier there. I used to have a $2,000 car insurance deductible. But because my driving was so safe, I discovered that I could lower it to $1,000, and the premium only jumped a few bucks per renewal. I should have kept it. Now looking back at it. Whatever the situation is, I made out like a bandit. I didn't feel too guilty about it because of all the inconveniences that it had caused. And then I thought about those are the kind of people who are cruising our roads, and then I think about my students who tell me they never want to have children. Now, hopefully, one of two things will happen. Hopefully, part of the reason I started driving so much safer is that I started my art career 3 years ago, and just having something to live for. If I die, all of that goes away. And, it gives me some skin in the game, right? A lot of younger people don't have that even, right? Hopefully, that will take hold eventually. Hopefully, eventually AI will take the keys away from these kids, right? And take them away from me as well, because I don't like driving either. Let's face it. Anyway, how does it make you feel when somebody who has nothing to lose in their life gets behind the wheel of a car? I think there's nothing more scary than that, right? You might as well give them a nuclear bomb, right? To somebody who has nothing to lose, right? This is the Peter Dislike Show. Bum 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 bum. The Peter Dislike Show. Bum 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 bum.